Episode 1. A monster appears in A-City and begins to wreak havoc as he defeats Lightning Max and Smile Man. A reporter tells what has happened, and then the report was suddenly cut out and a bald man named Saitama decides to leave. As the monster is about to kill a girl, an incoming Saitama arrives and saves her. The monster introduces itself as Vaccine Man and claims to have come into existence to eradicate mankind due to their pollution of Earth. Vaccine Man then transforms himself into a giant monstrosity and Saitama destroys him with a single punch. After a single punch killed the monster, Saitama screamed in frustration. The episode then switches to a flashback 3 years before he became a hero, showing an unemployed Saitama's encounter with Crabland, a man who gained crab-like features after eating too much crab. The monster spares him, explaining that it is hunting a boy with a large chin. Saitama promptly encounters the child, who is revealed to have drawn nipples on Crabland with a permanent marker while he was asleep. When Crabland finds them, Saitama decides to protect the child and kills the monster by ripping out its eye stalk with his necktie. As present-day Saitama reminisces about the events while shopping, a colossal man attacks the city. The man is the result of an experimental steroid, called Biceps Brachii King, developed by his mad scientist older brother. The two set out to conquer the world, only for the older brother to observe, in shock, that Saitama is riding on his brother's other shoulder. He orders the giant to kill the man on his shoulder, accidentally causing his own death. The enraged younger brother attacks Saitama, seemingly defeating him, and bemoans that he feels empty despite now being the strongest man alive. Saitama, emerging unharmed, comments that absolute power is boring and defeats the giant with a single punch, accidentally destroying the city. After defeating the giant, he returns home at night when he was noticed by a mysterious being, revealing himself to be Super Custom YO649Z MK2. While Super Custom YO649Z MK2 brags about his love to build custom cars, so much that he decked himself out and turned into a custom car-loving monster, Saitama just stares at him and the monster insults his bald head, prompting Saitama to strike him with a single punch, killing the monster. The next morning, he wakes up to find himself in the middle of an invasion of the surface by overpopulated subterranean people, who have already exterminated 70% of humanity. Surprised by their strength, he deems them worthy opponents and engages in a mighty battle. At the moment where he has defeated a great number of them and is about to fight the subterranean king, he wakes up to discover that it was only a dream. Finding an actual invasion by the subterraneans outside, he is disappointed when they quickly surrender after he easily defeats their king and they show a white flag that says, "Sorry about that." Outside Z-City, Genos, who was first shown standing in a field of decaying cow corpses, turns and begins walking towards the city. Episode 2. While Saitama waters his cactus, the TV announces that the recent massive mosquito swarm is headed towards Z-City, where he lives. He attempts to kill a mosquito but fails each time. In the abandoned city, a looter taking advantage of the situation has his blood drained by the mosquitoes, which are being controlled by Mosquito Girl. She fights with Genos, who as a cyborg is not affected by the swarm, each taking a limb from the other. She then powers up by consuming the blood gathered by her swarm from the animals in the surrounding wilderness. This causes the battle between her and Genos to become one-sided, but she is thrown into the sky by Saitama in a single slap. In amazement, Genos asks Saitama to become his disciple, to which he complies. Genos appears at Saitama's door days later, much to his annoyance. He explains his situation and his history between him and the mad cyborg in a long-winded monologue which frustrates Saitama. Elsewhere, a man in a secret facility analyzes Mosquito Girl's defeat and decides to capture Saitama for his experiments. Back in Saitama's apartment, Saitama and Genos' conversation is interrupted by the House of Evolution's messenger, who is promptly destroyed. Saitama is then trapped underground, while Genos faces off against Armored Gorilla, another cyborg, although Saitama soon escapes. He quickly defeats his two opponents and then questions the defeated cyborg, who panics when he realizes the rest of his team has been destroyed. In the end, Dr. Genus steps into a room full of worried subordinates discussing the fate of the team in Z-City. When they turn around, it is shown that they are all clones of him. Episode 3. The narration describes the story of Dr. Genus, a brilliant young scientist with ideas of artificially evolving humanity who became disillusioned with the world, eventually discovering the secret to immortality and creating multiple clones of himself. Saitama cuts off the narration in his impatience, and armored gorilla then explains that Dr. Genus is interested in Saitama's constitution, or as he puts it, his body. Saitama gets the wrong idea, believing the scientist to be homosexual until Genos explains that Genus wants Saitama for his experiments. The cyborg and Saitama decide to attack immediately, since the store discount day is the next day. Before they leave, Genos asks Armored Gorilla about any cyborgs, active 4 years ago, that have destroyed any towns, which Armored Gorilla denies. In preparation for Saitama's arrival, the House of Evolution sets traps in their facility, and reluctantly decides to release Carnage Kabuto. Once they arrive, Genos destroys the above-ground facility with a single blast before heading underground. The released Carnage Kabuto fights with Genos, taking no damage in the process. Carnage Kabuto then faces off against Saitama, but backs off when he detects how powerful Saitama really is. Saitama then reveals to the room his somewhat mundane, daily training regime of 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats and 10 kilometers of running, much to Genos' disbelief. Carnage Kabuto unleashes his Carnage mode and appears to be beating Saitama back, but it transpires that Saitama was just shocked by the realization that the store discount day was that day, instead of the next, and defeats Carnage Kabuto easily, leaving soon after with Genos to catch the rest of the discount day. Having witnessed this, Dr. Genus abandons his plans of artificial evolution, and realizes that he is the one who must change. After the credits, officials from the Hero Association inspect the House of Evolution blast site and discuss Genos' destructive power. Episode 4. A man named Hammerhead is out to make a utopia of the overworked and underpaid model of modern society. Nobody pays attention to him on the street though, as he announces plans against the rich man Zinru, who owns a nearby apartment building. Elsewhere, Saitama appears to be having a nightmare about playing rock, paper, scissors with someone who has a booger on their finger. Suddenly, he is angered to find out that Hammerhead has made it so that having a bald head makes you dangerous. He runs out to put an end to it. Meanwhile, Zinru hires his own bodyguard to protect him against the movements of Hammerhead and his gang. His bodyguard is named Speedo Sound Sonic. He faces the bald group on their way to Zinru's lair, and warns them that nobody usually survives after facing him in a fight. In just a few seconds, Sonic beheads just about all of the Hammerhead bald group. Elsewhere, Saitama is getting called a terrorist for his bald head. Finally, only Sonic and Hammerhead remain. Hammerhead manages to escape with his life, but then runs into Saitama in the forest. Hammerhead prepares to fight him by powering up. Saitama punches his entire suit off, seemingly feeling sympathy for him. Hammerhead runs away naked. Then Sonic shows up and tries to attack him, but Saitama explains that he's not one of Hammerhead's followers. But now that Saitama has blocked his attacks, Sonic still feels he must beat him. Saitama accidentally punches him in the crotch. Sonic then declares that he will train until he can beat him, while he barely stands from that one punch. Back at home, Saitama tells Genos to leave him alone as he has a serious problem to solve. The problem is, nobody has any idea who Saitama is despite all of his accomplishments. Genos tells him to sign up on the official hero register online. Saitama and Genos register together, and must take a hero test to be official heroes. Episode 5. Saitama and Genos are finally going to become registered heroes, but first they have to pass a physical and written test in order to prove that they're worthy of being a hero. Saitama easily surpasses the physical exam and anyone else that took it. Even though he aces the physical exams, he doesn't do as well on the written part. Saitama passes the test by just 1 point and is given a C rank, while Genos gets a perfect score and is given an S rank. Saitama and Genos are the only ones who made it out of all the applicants to actually be in a class where Snek is going to teach the class. Sadly, the class teacher is too confident in his skills, but Genos and Saitama are clearly stronger. Then in class the teacher gets annoyed by Saitama for not paying attention and tries to teach him a lesson, only to embarrass himself. Later that day Genos wants to spar with Saitama because of his newest upgrades. Genos still doesn't believe Saitama's secret training strategy, and thinks there must be some other secret that even Saitama himself might not know. Meanwhile, Genos is giving it his all in the spar while Saitama is just messing around, not really caring about the fight. So he asks Saitama to give it his all, and right when he does, the fight ends without Saitama even hitting him. Then Genos came to realize that Saitama is on another level that even he himself can't pass by just training. After the training, they visit an udon shop where they had an eating contest, where Genos had no problem completing while Saitama nearly passed out. Sweet Mask suddenly came and requested to speak to Genos outside. Sweet Mask came to congratulate Genos and welcomed him to the team, much to Genos' surprise. Episode 6. Saitama is busy lazing about and reading manga as Genos studies his unorthodox training methods, sketching down his every move and antic. The former pinches his brow in frustration, contemplating how much of a pain it will be to keep this charade of being his master going. The cyborg mentions his concern over his inactivity over the past few days, stating that due to an overabundance of C-class heroes, the association eventually strike those who are inactive for more than a week from their registry. Shocked and horrified by this revelation, Saitama sets out on patrol before the last day kicks in, having already been inactive as a hero for 6 days. Saitama rebuffs Genos' request of accompanying him by telling him to train himself in patience, though in reality, Saitama does not know how or in what way to instruct him and spouts things off the top of his head. Having been out on patrol for 2 whole peaceful days, the hapless hero fidgets nervously as this is his last day to avoid getting laid off. As if to make matters worse, Speedo Sound Sonic shows up to settle their imaginary rivalry, only for Saitama to brush him off, greatly provoking the ninja into attacking him, only for the latter to bite his sword in half. Greatly bewildered by these events, Sonic finds himself intimidated by the irked Saitama, who threatens to hit him just as a bystander sitting next to a boisterous upper-ranked hero, Tank Top Tiger, who reproaches Saitama's crazed antics, began revealing in public adoration and later enticed Saitama to make a big deal out of it just to entice his own rise in popularity, only to be cut down by a hail of exploding shuriken, which sends the crowding masses into a panic. Recognizing Sonic to be the culprit, the assailant soon forces his hand by causing havoc around the populated area with a lethal bombardment. Saitama, while still busy looking for hero work to do, realizes Sonic had provided him with the pick-me-up he needed and swiftly knocks the latter out cold, saving the day. Later that day, around Saitama's old neighborhood, a mysterious being was seen, skulking around, frightening the few masses who lived in the desolate Z City. Perturbed at not being sent out, Tatsumaki berated the assignment staff, having already sent out A-class Golden Ball and Spring Mustachio to the area. In Z City, the 2 aforementioned heroes are busy patrolling the streets, wondering about a rumor they had heard of about a pretty dangerous monster who lives in said area. After finding next to nothing on the job, they eventually find signs of said mysterious being and chase off after it. Having run into Kombu Infinity, who had also heard rumors of a powerful group of monsters in the city, engage the duo, easily swatting the best efforts of both aside. Realizing they are outmatched, Mustachio dials for reinforcements just before he is swiftly defeated. Upset that his opposition was so weak, Kombu sets out to create the rumor he and his fellow monsters initially heard about, soon after Saitama returns from a market sale. When Kombu notices him, the former relents on not having been able to secure some kombu soup stock just before the monster attacks him. When next seen, Saitama is just cooking some kombu soup when Genos comes in. Episode 7. Just before an incident, scientists and astronomers are busy studying the flight pattern of a meteorite, just as it passes over the Earth. When its course suddenly changes trajectory, a mass warning system breaks out that a huge meteor from space is about to strike Z City. While at home, Genos and Saitama are conversing over hero rankings, with one jumping from lowest 388th rank to 345th rank in C class, while the other remains in the same position, but gaining a mass popularity base. Just then a notice is sent out to all S-class heroes available on scene as to prep a counteractive response to the latest threat, but only the few upper-class heroes to show up are Bang and Genos, who set out to stop it. Bang mentions to Genos the notice for the meteor evacuation protocols have already engaged and that he should clear out before it's too late. He himself, however, cannot leave the city due to family honor and personal reasons, but when he was about to properly introduce himself, the younger hero had already left. Out hopping over rooftops to intercept the impact designation, Genos notices a bunch of civilians who have given up hope of survival and caved into despair. Genos theorizes that it is too late to evacuate, seeing as the meteor will destroy countless cities neighboring it. His resolution is affirmed as the cyborg hero also states his teacher lives here, too, and that he cannot simply abandon him. Then Metal Knight shows up to test out a new weapon against the meteor, but was uninterested in teaming up with another hero to avert the crisis. However, his arsenal failed to stop the meteor. Then Genos stepped up to divert the incoming calamity himself, but was immobilized by thoughts of failure until Bang arrived and clears away his doubts. In the end, after trying and failing to stop the celestial body from falling, it is Saitama who destroys it in the end, smashing it to pieces in one blow. The impact of which, however, scatters its fragments across most parts of the city, leaving many of its citizens without most of their homes and belongings. The next day, Saitama moved to learn that Genos rose in rank and was shocked to find that he sped past ranks 300th to 5th after the incident. Curious as to what the threat level ranking means, Saitama asked the latter about them, his student stating most heroes adhere to them for when to mobilize against it, surmising this does not count to Saitama, who retorts saying who'll fight for the helpless if the heroes run, leading Genos to passionately archive his words. While out on patrol over the damaged city, the sore-losing Tank Top Tiger calls his brother, Tank Top Black Hole, who rallies a mob of citizens, who are angry and are blaming Saitama for the destruction, completely ignoring the fact that had Saitama not destroyed the meteor, everyone would have died. When the two try to make a newbie crush into a public display, Saitama turns the tables, much to the prediction of a watching Bang, and shames the mob, chanting for his execution with a world of cardboard speech, stating he did nothing wrong, exclaiming, he does playing the hero for a hobby, not for their adoration, but because he likes it, and that they can hate him all they want because he doesn't care what they think. Episode 8. A Seafolk messenger announces that the Seafolk are coming to the surface to kill all the humans. Saitama is on his way home from shopping and stops by to punch the messenger. Mumin Rider is late to the scene and sees only the destroyed body of the creature, and hears the crowd talking about Saitama. Mumin Rider looks Saitama up on the internet and sees that he is powerful, but opinions are divided on him. At the coast, several large seafolk monsters emerge from the sea, threatening J-City. The A-class hero Stinger challenges them with his powerful bamboo shoot weapon. Meanwhile, Genos is drying dishes with his built-in equipment as Saitama watches a news report about Stinger's battle against the Seafolk. The two decide to head out to confront the threat. Back at the fight, Stinger takes out the last 4 Seafolk with a gigantic Drill Stinger quadruple thrust attack, but is then bested by the Sea King, the leader of the Seafolk. Saitama, Genos, and Mumin Rider all set off to confront the threat. Genos splits off from Saitama to scout ahead. Various other powerful humans confront Sea King to no avail, including Lightning Max, Puri Puri Prisoner, and Speedo Sound Sonic. Sonic fights the Sea King to a standstill until the Sea King is moistened by the rain, thus unleashing his true form. Sonic is forced to retreat. Meanwhile, Saitama and Mumin Rider meet each other on the way to the fight. Saitama goes off to find Sonic, who he sees running naked through the rain. Mumin Rider gets a phone call from Hero Association headquarters about the location of the Sea King and decides to go confront the monster, who has just broken into an emergency shelter and has taken down the heroes inside, including Snack, and is dispatching the heroes there. Saitama returns to where he met Mumin Rider to find a discarded cell phone. Episode 9. As Saitama is waiting for the Hero Association to decide whether they want him to help fight the Deep Sea King or not, Genos initiates battle and seemingly defeats the monster with a massive attack. However, he lets his guard down and gets one of his arms ripped off. He tells the people to run while he distracts the monster, since victory is no longer assured. He seems to be doing a good job, until the Deep Sea King launches a glob of acid at a little girl, which Genos intercepts, and it melts his bionic body, nearly killing him. In that moment, right before the Sea King would have finished Genos off, Mumin Rider appears and engages the Deep Sea King. He is defeated easily, but refuses to give up. Upon seeing this, the people decide to encourage him, but to no avail. When Mumin Rider is knocked out, he is caught by Saitama, who had been instructed by the association to provide backup, and arrives in that exact moment. After exchanging a few words with the Deep Sea King, he defeats him with a single punch, and is praised by the townspeople. Sonic also reappears with his weapons in a different part of town, but assumes the Deep-Sea King must have fled. Back at their apartment, Genos and Saitama get a delivery of fan mail from the Hero Association. Genos is praised, while Saitama gets a hateful letter, calling him a cheat. The episode reverts to a flashback from right after Saitama's victory. The people are ecstatic to have been saved and are impressed by Saitama's swift victory. However, one of them starts bad-mouthing the other heroes, saying how they must have been frauds, no matter their rank, since they got beaten. His reasoning is that the Deep-Sea King could not have been that tough if a C-class hero defeated it in one punch. Upon hearing this, Saitama laughs and downplays his victory to save the reputations of the other heroes by saying that he got lucky, and the job was easy for him, since he came late and the monster had been weakened. He also tells the people to care for the fallen heroes, so he can continue to cash in on their work. The people accept him as nothing but a fraud, and thank the fallen for their work. Genos decides not to interfere with Saitama's decision, but promises to intervene if this choice were ever to push Saitama into a corner in the future. The episode jumps back to present time, and Saitama realizes he has another letter, this one only saying thank you. He then finds a third letter from the Hero Association, telling him he is now first rank C-class, and calling him in to discuss a promotion to B-class. Saitama accepts, making him 101st rank, B-class. The episode jumps to Sweet Mask during his work. One of his subordinates tells him that Saitama moved up a rank. Sweet Mask seems to not care, as he is disappointed by the work of the A- and S-rank heroes in the Deep-Sea King case. However, he changes his mind when he is told that Saitama was the one to actually defeat the monster. Meanwhile in the hospital, Lightning Max and Stinger are recuperating when Puri Puri Prisoner enters, wanting to administer angel shots to the two. They escape, dropping the newspapers they had been reading, and Puri Puri Prisoner is upset when he sees that he is called an S-rank failure in the news. The episode ends with Saitama walking home at night with his promotion. He encounters Mumen Rider in a roadside Odin shop. Mumen Rider reveals he sent the thank you letter and pays for Saitama's dinner. After the credits, Shibabawa, a fortune teller, warns an official from the Hero Association that the Earth is doomed. Episode 10. The ancient king of the Terror Lizard clan appears and Tatsumaki is sent to deal with him. After a short quarrel, Tatsumaki sends a meteor from outer space to destroy the monster. At Bang's dojo, Bang tells Saitama and Genos about how his former best student, Garou, went wild and defeated all of his other top students. Suddenly, a Hero Association staff member comes and informs the heroes that an emergency has been declared and all S-class heroes have been called to a meeting. At the association, Saitama meets Atomic Samurai, an arrogant S-class hero, and others, Puri Puri Prisoner, Metal Bat, Tank Top Master, Flashy Flash, Watchdog Man, Super Alloy Darkshine, Pig God, Drive Knight, Zombie Man, King, Child Emperor. Sitch, a member of the association, starts the meeting by telling the heroes that the emergency would be perilous and even with their skills, there is no guarantee of survival. Also, the Great Seer, Madame Shibabawa, had died while becoming agitated and choking on a cough pill because of a coughing fit while predicting the future. Sitch mentions that Shibabawa's predictions have always been 100% accurate, be it monster attacks or natural disasters. Before she died, she left a note thought to be her greatest prophecy. The note read, "The Earth is in trouble," alarming the heroes. He warns the heroes to prepare for a fight in the next 6 months. Just after he says this, the HQ is attacked by Skyfolk, who are quickly slain by Melzargard, a member of the Dark Matter Thieves. An alien spacecraft then proceeds to destroy A- City, causing a large number of casualties. Just as Melzargard is about to kill some civilians, Ian, a student of Atomic Samurai, arrives and engages him in battle. Saitama encounters the alien ship and advances towards it, avoiding some projectiles thrown at him and damaging the ship. Meanwhile, Melzargard proves to be a challenge for Ian and causes him to lose his left arm before Atomic Samurai intervenes, saving his student from death. Melzargard, however, regenerates and the hero's attack seemed to cause no damage to him. Then, Metal Bat, Bang and Puri Puri Prisoner arrive. Puri Puri Prisoner recalls Deep-Sea King's words and enters Dark Angel form and unleashes punches onto Melzargard. Elsewhere, the other S-class heroes discuss how to bring down the ship. As they offer differing views, Genos notes that Saitama has already entered the ship and has slain a large number of the aliens. He comments that there is no evil that Saitama is unable to defeat. Saitama encounters Groraibas, an alien, and manages to destroy him with one punch. Saitama continues to destroy the ship, wondering where the boss might be. At the end, Boros is seen on his throne. Episode 11. Jeriaganshub complains about Groraibas' defeat as he and Melzargrid are the only elite fighters left on the ship. Boros walks in and Jeriaganshub informs Boros that the ship is badly damaged by the human intruder, but Boros tells him not to fear as the sphere keeping them safe won't allow that to happen. Meanwhile, below the ship, Puri prisoner's efforts were futile as Melzargrid simply regenerates back into his form. Ian tells the other heroes that it is pointless to keep trying. Melzargrid tells his other head to go and contact the ship for a bombardment. As the head flies away, Metalbat smacks him down. Melzargrid and Jeriaganshub telepathically tell each other that both sides are dealing with big trouble as Saitama reaches another door. Atomic Samurai, Puri prisoner and Bang join forces and attack Melzargrid together as Ian tells them once more that direct hits have no effect on it. He tells them to retreat and think of a better way to handle the situation. Atomic Samurai, Puri prisoner, Bang and Metalbat keep attacking Melzargrid, telling Ian it is the only thing they know. Melzargrid and Jeriaganshub again speak, telepathically saying the life forms below are persistently attacking him and requested for a cleansing bombardment. Jeriaganshub is too busy, but notifies the artillery crew. Jeriaganshub leaves the conversation and while Melzargrid was distracted, Metalbat finds a marble within Melzargrid before he could regenerate, thus destroying the marble and part of Melzargrid for good. Jeriaganshub tries to lead Saitama out of the ship and Saitama went the opposite direction to find the controls room. He finally finds Jeriaganshub, who has incredible telepathic powers that can manipulate everything and anything, but in the end, Saitama throws a pebble at him that destroys Jeriaganshub. Meanwhile, Dark Matter Gunner is preparing a bombardment. Child Emperor and Genos are assessing the situation on ground level, while Busha and Sitch are communicating to assess the situation. Mumin Rider helps evacuate a victim to safety. Down on the ground, the heroes are busting Melzargrid's heads and the four heroes look up, with shell bombardment ready to attack. After it shoots, Tatsumaki appears and stops the bullets in midair, cursing the other four heroes fighting Melzargrid. She then turns the bullets and forces them back onto the ship full force. Stinger and Lightning Max appear to Busha wanting to help too. Bang destroys another marble, when Melzargrid slaps the concrete along with Bang, who takes a direct hit. He sticks on a building, unconscious. With one more head left, Melzargrid threatens to crush Atomic Samurai's head and he retaliates after seeing his comrade in that condition. Saitama finds Boros who scans him for power, saying Saitama is Earth's strongest warrior with limitless energy. Boros treats Saitama with respect and tells him his name and the prophecy by an alien seer that brought the dominator of the universe to Earth. Saitama punches Boros after being annoyed with what he heard, telling him he cannot attack other planets just to liven up his boring life. Surprisingly, the alien survives the punch and the armor used to seal in his immense power breaks apart, with his true form emerging. Episode 12. Boros continues to fight with Saitama, which leads to Boros losing an arm. The fight continues on, even reaching the point where Saitama finds himself on the moon, but soon returns. Meanwhile, Mumin Rider, Stinger and Lightning Max rescue the last of the survivors. The heroes fight Melzargrid, who is ultimately destroyed by Bang, who recovers and destroys the final marble in Melzargrid's final head. The fight between Saitama and Boros continues and it is revealed that Boros has regenerative powers. However, the fight continues on to the point where they are both forced to use their most powerful moves respectively. Saitama emerges victorious with Boros admitting he was not even close to Saitama. After the fight, Drive Knight leaves after telling Genos that Metal Knight is his enemy. Sweet Mask appears and blames the S-class heroes for the destruction of the city, nearly causing a fight, which is interrupted by Metal Knight who emerges to salvage parts of the ship. Meanwhile, Super Alloy Darkshine discovers alien survivors, whom Sweet Mask makes quick work of as Genos sees his past self in Sweet Mask. Saitama emerges from the ship to witness Tatsumaki having a tantrum. Genos tells her to shut up, while calling her a brat, which causes her to smash him into a nearby rock. Bang interrupts before it can get any worse. The parts Metal Knight salvages from the ship are used to rebuild the Hero Association HQ, which takes the place of City A, which is wiped off the map. The A and S-class heroes are invited to stay in the newly rebuilt Hero Association HQ. In a post-credit scene, Pluton, a dragon-level mysterious being, has appeared in Z City and caused massive destruction to everything in its path. Soon after, Saitama, with a single punch, defeats the monster as he cries out that life is back to 1.